So first, you need to find the current price of the stock. We're given the dividend in year 0, as well as some information about the retention rate and the firm's return on equity. Now the return on equity, make sure you understand that this is not the same thing as the discount rate that's used when we're talking about equity. This return on equity, which we call ROE, is just a statistical measure. It's just a ratio of the company that tells something about its earnings. It's similar to a yields to earnings ratio or price to earnings ratio. It's just a ratio that we're going to use to actually find the growth rate. So remember, one way to express the long run growth rate of a company's dividends is G, the growth rate, equals B times R, where B is the retention rate and R is the return on earnings. Since the question tells us that the firm pays out 50% of its earnings as dividends, it means that the firm keeps 1 minus 50%, or 50%, as retained earnings to use for growth. So B, our retention rate, equals 50%. The question tells us that the return on earnings is 12%. So the long run growth rate is just the product of these two things. The 50% retention rate times the 12% return on earnings gives us a long-term growth rate of 6%. Now let's find the dividend in period 1. The dividend in period 1 is just the dividend in period 0 compounded forward 1 period, so multiplied by 1 plus the growth rate. And since we just found it's growing at a rate of 6%, and we're told that the dividend today in period 0 is $1.50, we plug both of these numbers in, so we multiply $1.50 times 1 plus 6%, gives us a dividend in period 1 of $1.59. So now we can use the constant growth perpetuity formula to find the price of the stock. The constant growth perpetuity formula tells us when we take the dividend in year 1 and divide it by the rate of return used to discount these dividends minus the growth rate, we get the price as of year 0. Again, the price is evaluated 1 period before the first dividend. So we have all this information. We plug in the dividend of $1.59 and the rate of return of 12% and the growth rate of 6% gives us a price in year 0 of $26.50. Since we're trying to find the percentage of the stock's current price that's attributable to the dividends in years 1 through 10, we need to evaluate these 10 years of dividends separately. So we're basically breaking up the stream of dividends. We just found what all the dividends are worth starting in year 0 going on into infinity. But the question asks us to find the first chunk, the first 10 dividends, and define what they're worth as a percent of all of those dividends. Well, we could find what the dividend is in each of the 10 years and then find the present value of each and then add them all together. But this would be a pretty tedious process. So as we've learned, an annuity can be thought of as the difference between two perpetuities. So since our original stock is basically a perpetuity that starts in year 1, if we found the value of all of the dividends received in year 11 through infinity, which is a perpetuity, we could subtract them. Then we'd be left with a value for the dividends in years 1 through 10, which is exactly what we're looking for. So basically we're going to split up the whole stock, the infinite stream of cash flows, into two different perpetuities. One that starts in year 1, which we already have, it's the price, and one that starts in year 11, which we're going to find. And the difference is just the chunk that's in between, which is years 1 through 10, and that's what we're looking for. So, to find the value of the infinite stream of dividends that begins in year 11, we need to find out what the dividend will be in year 11. Well, the dividend in year 11 is just equal to the dividend today compounded forward 11 times. So multiply by 1 plus the growth rate G raised to the 11th power. The dividend today was $1.50 and the growth rate is 6%. So we plug these in and we find that the dividend in year 11 is 2.847. Now, to find the value of this perpetuity, use the equation for the present value of a constant growth perpetuity. Again, the equation will give us the value as of year 10 because this dividend occurs in year 11. The value is always calculated for this perpetuity equation 1 period before the period in which the first dividend occurs. So we take the dividend in year 11, divide it by the rate of return, the discount rate being used R, minus the growth of the dividend G. So we plug in the dividend of 2.847, the discount rate of 0.12, 12%, and the growth rate of 6%, and we find that the value of the perpetuity starting in year 11 is equal to $47.45 in year 10. So we have the value of the dividends starting in year 11, but the value is as of year 10. So you want to discount it back to year 0 so we can compare it with the current price of the stock. So the value as of year 0 is equal to the value as of year 10, $47.45, divided by 1 plus the discount rate, 12%, raised to the 10th power. So it's over 1.12 to the 10th. And we get a value as of year 0 of $15.28. Again, we're looking for the value of the dividends in years 1 through 10, which is a 10-period annuity. So we can subtract the perpetuity that starts in year 11 from the perpetuity that starts in year 1, which is just the price of the stock. So we know the perpetuity of dividends that starts in year 1 to infinity is the price of the stock. We just found the perpetuity that starts in year 11 to infinity is $15.28, and so we're going to just subtract it and get this chunk in the middle of the first 10 periods of dividends evaluated as of year 0. That's what we're looking for. So we do that, we subtract the two, so the value of the first 10 dividends is equal to the price minus the value of the perpetuity starting in year 11. So it's the $26.50 minus the $15.28 gives us a value evaluated as of year 0 of those first 10 payments equal to $11.22. Now the question asks us to express this as a percentage of the overall price. So now you just have to take that valuation of the first 10 payments and divide it by the price. So you want to just take the $11.22 and divide it by the overall price of $26.50. That gives us an answer of 42.34%. So 42.34% of the present value of all of the dividends of the stock occur in the first 10 periods.